Make no mistake, America's large cities are in crisis. On July 2nd, a huge crowd gathered at Baltimore's Brooklyn Homes public housing project for a block party. The Brooklyn Day celebration culminated in the worst mass shooting in Baltimore's history, with 30 victims, including 2 fatalities. Police recovered shell casings from as many as 16 guns. Let me quote from an article in City Journal. Quote, State's Attorney General Marilyn Mosby is a committed progressive. When she assumed her role, she helped unleash an unprecedented crime wave by dropping cases, refusing to prosecute serious crimes, crimes that keep violent criminals out of prison. During Mosby's first year in office alone, Baltimore homicides soared 62%. They totaled 2,653 during her short tenure. Mosby was guided by an ideology that sees criminals as victims, police as criminals, and victims as collateral damage, even when most of this group are black, as are 95% of all Baltimore homicide victims. End quote. Between 2020 and 2022, 2 million people left America's largest cities. Between 2019 and 2022, homicides increased by 40%. A reporter from CNN in San Francisco, in town to investigate a surge in crime, has been robbed 3 times in the last few weeks. My own son moved to San Francisco and was robbed the first month he moved to the city. Rental car companies advise you not to put luggage in the trunk of your car when you rent at San Francisco International Airport because it may well be stolen. Elon Musk says downtown San Francisco looks like a zombie apocalypse. In 2020, America saw the largest single-year increase in homicides in our history, almost all of them in urban areas. America's most violent cities have a homicide rate higher than the worst countries in the world. The giant retailer Target is closing a number of its big city stores due to theft. Last year it lost $500 million because of shoplifting. Walmart, Walgreens, even Whole Foods have made the same decision. The Wall Street Journal wrote, quote, readers of a certain age probably think of retail theft as individual acts of shoplifting. But today a growing threat is from organized retail crime. And gangs plan their raids on retail stores, warehouses, trucks, or rail hubs. And the goal isn't personal consumption. It's to resell the stolen goods at a profit, often over the internet. In the past 2 years, cities like Portland and San Francisco have seen dramatic increases in deaths due to drug overdoses, with 3,000 deaths in those 2 cities alone. What has caused the crisis? I admit that there are a number of factors, but the biggest is the political power of the progressive left. The voters and district attorneys they elect hold a non-Christian view of man. They deny original sin and believe people are basically good. So, if people are basically good, how can they do evil things? When they commit crimes, it cannot be their fault. They are victims of an oppressive capitalist society. And if they were treated more justly, they would stop their criminal activity. Along with man's sinfulness, the progressive left denies the Christian doctrine of personal responsibility. God's word says that no matter your personal circumstances, you are individually responsible for making the right decisions, and if you don't, you face the judgment of God. Now, progressives deny this. Because of bad theology, progressives in big cities have gone to war against their own police departments, arguing that policemen are worse criminals than the people they arrest. Incidentally, if everyone is basically good, how can policemen be bad? Well, the progressive answer is textbook Karl Marx. The inherent goodness of a policeman is erased when he becomes part of the oppressor class. Progressives have argued that reducing the arrest and incarceration rates of criminals would be beneficial generally and especially for minority populations. Of course, the opposite has happened, and the people who suffer most from progressive policies are black and brown minorities. The British publication Unheard got it right. It said progressives aren't just choosing the wrong candidates. They are voting for the wrong ideas, or to use my terminology, they are casting their votes based on wrong doctrines. The problems in America's cities are theological. Your basic view of man affects everything you do. Not just how you deal with crime, but how you educate children, how you parent children, how you deal with homelessness. And the religion of the progressive left calls for saving yourself by doing good works. And these good works are the implementation of left-wing policies. However, the implementation of false doctrine is an unmitigated disaster. Let me quote again from City Journal. Quote, "It's an article of faith among New York City's progressive leadership that punishment does not deter crime, and that putting criminals in jail is at least as evil as whatever they did to get there. From this perspective, sending someone to jail is the worst thing that society can do. It not only destroys the life of the perpetrator, but also creates a false sense of accomplishment while ignoring the socioeconomic root causes of crime." This is bad doctrine in action. As a consequence, hardened criminals are not being locked away. On the basis of these false doctrines, they are being released to wreak havoc on society. New York City's incarceration rate is the lowest it has been since 1946, when it had much less population. Progressives view violent crime as akin to a public health issue. We don't accuse smokers of being evil, we help them quit. Criminals aren't evil, they are victims. Increased law enforcement only makes them suffer more. What can be done for cities in the grip of the false doctrines of progressivism? The collapse of cities will force people to the truth, just like the Supreme Court reinstalled Christian truth in their decision recently on affirmative action. As I discussed in another video, America's cities can return to a biblical view of man. Ungodly doctrine produces ungodly government. God uses the results of sin to punish sin and to put people on a path to righteousness. I pray that will happen in American cities. Of course, the preaching of the gospel, as always, will do more good than anything else. Walter Russell Mead of Yale University and the Wall Street Journal was right. The only hope for America's inner cities is, as he put it, religion. And by religion, he means almost exclusively Christianity. As always, our great hope is our God and His truth. Thanks for listening. May the God of truth bless you this day in a mighty way.